tell you what, I've just got here on the coach, which you may have seen in the previous video, and a taxi took me round to the ferry terminal, but I would have never fancied walking here. No chance of that. Anyway, I am here because I'm taking a ferry, the Stena Line Horizon. Not sure there's much chance of seeing much Horizon today, and that's going to take me across the Baltic Sea to Travemunde in Germany, and a journey of about 22 hours. God willing. And yeah, like I said, it's quite windy, but all I've got to do now is check in, which I think is over there, so hopefully that'll go smoothly. Due to depart at 1500 hours, so yeah, you've got to check in 90 minutes before. As I said, I'm just a foot passenger making the journey today, and I've got an overnight cabin, a nice 2-berth with a window, so I'll show you all that once we get on board. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it, with a little bit of trepidation, to be honest. But come with me, I'm sure it'll be entertaining. I'll see you on board the ship. Okay, here we go then, and yeah, it's probably not the most glamorous entrance to a ferry terminal building I've ever been in, to be honest, but I found my way up the steps and into the small but functional check-in area, with the desks here on the left and some seats immediately in front of you as you walk in, and yeah, that's about it really. Now, the check-in process itself was quite interesting. I had to take a paper ticket with a number on it and then wait. A few lorry drivers went before me, and then my number was called. This was the first clue as to the pecking order on this particular route, and yeah, freight is very much the priority on this service, and everything's geared around that, especially the ship, as you will find out later. Well, that's fine though. I was under no illusions on this trip, and it certainly wasn't going to be an experience like my previous voyage on the Stockholm-Helsinki route and the Silja Serenade. Hi there, there's my number. Do you need my...
I see a lot of people waiting something. It's coming. Can I take a scan, please?
Yeah, sure. Do you need that? That's my kind of...
It will be easier for me. 2 seconds and
cool.
I find you in the system.
Oh, let's hope so. Do you get many foot passengers on this route? Just the brave few?
Yes, it looks like all these.
That's not too bad.
The bus will come several times.
Yeah, it's
yes.
the bus transfer. Yeah, that's cool. What time does the bus come normally?
I will call right now. So it depends.
Yeah.
You will take in the first ride or the second ride.
Brilliant.
So there's the boarding cards, extra point card. Don't forget if you buy something in the ferry.
Yes.
And there is a cabin key card. It would be nice if you don't put together with the phone because you can lose connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much. See you later. Now, the lady behind the check-in counter was probably the friendliest person I'd met in Latvia, really helpful too. I got told off by a dog owner for having the audacity to pat their dog, and then shortly after that the minibus arrived to take myself and a handful of other foot passengers, including the dog, over to the ship. As is normally the case with these bus transfers, we drove straight onto the vehicle deck, right next to the access to the passenger decks, which was, to my surprise, provided by an escalator. And that certainly saved walking up flights and flights of steps, didn't it? And at the top of the escalator, well, it brought you out onto the main, well, only passenger deck, deck 5. And it had a movie lounge to the left though here, and guest services right in front of you. And it seemed overall like quite a good first impression, really. My cabin for the night was up on the port side, cabin 665, the neighbour of the beast. If you do this trip yourself, you may want to make a note of this number for reasons that will become clear a little bit later on. Anyway, after a bit of to and fro in between the cabin door and guest services, I was eventually able to gain access, and so I just spent a couple of minutes having a little look around. Oh, blooming heck, right guys. Well, do you know what? That is probably the earliest I've been able to board a ship that I can remember anyway, almost 2 hours prior to departure. Which was great, apart from the fact that when I got to the cabin, the door key wouldn't work. And so I went back down to reception, guest services if you like, and they came up and they tried it. They tried to reactivate it twice and it still wouldn't work, so we went all the way back down to guest services again. Got a plastic key one of these. So and that works. But she came back up with me again just to make sure. Anyway, we are here outside. Well, I'd say 2 berth. It's actually a 4 berth, isn't it? But yeah, just the 2 berths down for me tonight, and I only need one of those, of course. So let's have a quick little look then back to the window. Yes, I've actually invested in a window cabin tonight. So hopefully I'll be able to see all those rough swells from outside. It's looking a bit, okay, we'll see how we go. Okay, British, you will notice down there with USB connectivity, but you've also got the European conventional plug sockets too. A nice little table, really, and yeah, the bed looks perfectly comfortable. It looks quite wide actually, which is nice. That's good. It'll stop me falling out tonight. And yeah, no EU roaming on board. They're making a big thing about that, so flight mode is advised. Although they have said that there is Wi-Fi on board. It doesn't sound like it's the best in the world, but we'll see, won't we? Television in the corner, and let's have a look at, just before we do that, it's a full-length mirror by the door. Let's have a look at the bathroom. Is it going to be amazing, or is it going to be just like any other ferry? Yes, it's going to be just like any other ferry, but it's fine, it's clean. Excuse me. Yeah, well, not much to say about that, is there? There's a sink, a toilet and a shower. Yeah, fairly standard shower for a ferry. And so yes guys, that is about it. But yeah, I think, well, I mean, there's going to be plenty of daylight in this crossing, so we should get some good views from here. But as always, I'm not going to be sitting in the cabin looking out the window. I'm going to be up on deck, so join me outside a little bit later. Before that, I'm going to eat the sandwich that I've been carrying with me all the way from Riga. I'm starving. So yeah, I'll see you outside in a little while. This dockside crane here was fantastic to see, real old school looking, and the weather wasn't too bad really, a bit blowy, but yeah, there were some blue skies about. I had a wander around the vehicle deck on deck 6, which was pretty quiet as you can see here, and there were some fairly decent views to the stern of the vehicles being loaded on, but after a while a security guard turned up, which I wasn't expected to see, to be honest, and told myself and a few other passengers that we needed to vacate the area. So I retreated to the starboard side of the ship, ready for our departure. Right guys, outside on the Stena Horizon, and yeah, we've got about 10 minutes until departure, hopefully, and I've had a look around the ship, inside and out. That didn't take long, to be honest, gotta say. There's not much to do. Bring a book. I'm not expecting there to be any entertainment, fortunately. So yeah, you got to make your own really. And yeah, what is 22 hours gonna feel like on this? Well, I guess I'll let you know when we're somewhere near to Germany in the morning. It feels a long way away at the moment, but it's brightening up a little bit. So maybe it looks a little bit rough out there to see, but maybe it won't be as bad as I was anticipating. But yeah, we'll see. I'm on here now, aren't I? So you know, what's the worst that could happen? Right, I'm going to watch the lines being taken in, hopefully in a minute, and yeah, then we'll be heading out into the Baltic Sea. If you like these kind of travel videos guys, I would really appreciate a like or subscribe if you haven't already done so. It doesn't cost anything to do, but every click raises the profile of the channel, and the more people that watch my stuff, the more content I can make in the future. Thank you so much for your support. And we actually left port about 25 minutes late in the end. Liepaja is the third largest port in Latvia, though the only ferry route out of here is the one that we're on. Stena currently operates 6 times a week on this route, sharing the duties with the Stena Horizon sister ship, the Stena Flavia. And we passed the breakwater here, heading out into the open sea, at which point I decided to go inside on the hunt for some food. Well, I tried the restaurant first, but that had just closed and it wasn't going to be open again until 6 PM. And no problem though, I thought I'd go and grab a coffee and a snack from the Barista Coffee House. Unfortunately, that was also closed until 4 PM according to the sign. This was a Monday, by the way. There were a few slot machines on board if you're into that kind of thing, and a small shop, Now, if you look at the opening hours here, you will note that all times on the ship are in German time. And that is 1 hour behind Latvian time. So you need to put your watch back an hour once you're on board, otherwise nothing will make sense. And as you can see, it was a bit of a squeeze inside the shop, but it did sell a small selection of everything you'd expect to find on a ferry. And note the 20% discount for truckers sign at the entrance here. Now, the barista coffee shop was still closed, so I decided to head to the one area that I knew would be open, the bar. And although limited in choice, I was able to get a coffee and another sandwich, salami and brie. €8 for them both. Is this okay for ship prices? Just about, in my opinion. Forward of the bar is this kind of lounge area, which I think probably doubles as an overspill for the restaurant, which is called the Truckers Restaurant and Lounge. There are some decent views from here over the bow, and we will return to this part of the ship later. For now though, it was a case of exploring the rest of the public areas, which are all located here on deck 5. And towards the rear of the barista coffee shop seating, there is a small children's area, unoccupied at the time of my filming. I had a bit of a look in. There was a screen here for kids to watch, but unfortunately that was out of order. And the one route towards the rear of this deck is then on the starboard side, which takes you next to a small area with a touchscreen display telling you all about the onboard facilities like the bar, the cinema, the Higgy Lounge and the video arcade. This was good, apart from the fact that very little of what you saw on the screen was actually available. And next to this space was some kind of random counter which didn't make any sense at all, and a vending machine that was out of order. And back towards guest services, which seemed to be occupied by one of the crew members at this point, we walked past the cinema, which, having spoken to a member of staff, I discovered was not a cinema anymore and had in fact been repurposed into a silent room. I mean, really? This must have been one of the noisiest parts of the ship. But anyway, yeah, no films tonight for me, unfortunately. And lastly, I headed down a lonely corridor towards the recline lounge, according to the sign anyway. And there is an elevator here, but it was, unfortunately, out of order. And then we come to the recline lounge, aka the Higgy Lounge, which I couldn't access, but it is apparently a peaceful escape to unwind in. Well, like I said, it seemed quite noisy sitting back here by guest services, but yeah, it was paid entry to the lounge, so it may well have been an oasis of calm for all I know. I'll have to give it the benefit of the doubt. And that was that in terms of the internal features. I decided to head back out on deck and make my own entertainment by admiring the views of the open sea. Enjoy them with me as I tell you a little bit more about the ship and the area we're travelling through. Yeah, it's a bit windy out on deck. I'll tell you what, it comes to something, I've had this before. I think it was on the MS Ulysses, the Irish ferries one, where the only protection you've got from the elements, pretty much, is the like the smoking shelter. If you don't smoke, that's kind of pretty rubbish, really, isn't it? But yeah, as long as you can light a fag, well, that's, you know, great. But unfortunately, it's, you know, unsurprisingly quite quiet, so I come in here out the wind for a bit and talk to you guys. But the sun's in the sky, so the weather has improved considerably, and I am hoping that in a few hours' time we're going to get a really nice sunset. Before that though, it's time to hit the restaurant. I got to the restaurant bang on 6 PM, German time, don't forget. I'm glad I did, as it got really busy, and it wasn't the easiest of places to film. I hadn't pre-booked meals, so the arrangement was to pay €20 before you actually got anything, and for that you then had a choice of bread, salad, 3 main courses, ribs, turkey or fish, and a dessert which was basically jelly, cream or a mousse, and then you could help yourself to drinks. Well, I had the turkey with some roast potatoes, bread and salad. Oh, plus the jelly, of course, I couldn't resist that. Now, to go with it, I had a cup of tea. I would have had a Coke or a lemonade, but unfortunately the fizzy drinks machine was, you've guessed it, out of order, as was one of the coffee machines. And the other choice was water, and I wasn't sure about risking that. Now, what do you think for the money? Let me know in the comments below. I thought that overall the meal service and the options were in keeping with the rest of the ship, really. Basic. But it seemed quite popular. I lasted 45 minutes before retiring to the bar, but people were still queuing to get in by that time. And by the way, if you're a vegetarian, you've got salad and potatoes, and that's about it. That's not really good enough, is it, Stena? I headed back up to the starboard smoking shelter on deck 7 to watch the sunset. I found myself here quite a lot during the course of the evening, even though I don't smoke. Utilising its exclusive seating area, I was able to spend quite a bit of time thinking about the ferry and the facilities. And on a positive note, the ship does have a reasonable amount of outside deck space, and I did think she was quite stable. I wouldn't say the waters were anywhere near choppy this evening, but she did handle the sea well. And on the downside though, there was a lot of stuff that either wasn't available because it was out of order, or just wasn't used anymore. And I was beginning to wonder whether anybody did any maintenance at all on this vessel. I mean, how long had stuff been out of order for? How long had the cinema been closed? And why? Well, like I said before, I'm fully aware that this is primarily a freight service, and I booked it without any preconceptions of glamorous lounges or dazzling entertainment, but it all seemed just a little bit unloved really, which I thought was a bit of a shame. Anyway, the sunset was good, I really enjoyed that, and then I returned briefly to my cabin to get ready for an evening in the bar, and then hopefully a decent night's sleep. But on that subject, my cabin, number 665, remember, the neighbour of the beast, it was one of only 2 that had a line outside the window, and this had been banging against the window in the wind, and would continue to do so all night. So if you're a light sleeper like me, you may find that it's an issue. But these days I use good earplugs, which help quite a lot, and I would recommend you do the same, or if you get this number when checking in, just ask for another cabin. Right guys, so yeah, I thought I would come out for the night and get dressed up, as you do, and yeah, come down to the bar. And when I got to the bar, they've got kind of like various specials. All the prices, by the way, they're here on this thing, so, which is fine. And I noticed that you can have like a pint of the Latvian lager. I don't normally drink lager, to be honest, but you can have one of those and a shot. You could have like Jägermeister and 1 or 2 others, including this thing here. Just excuse me while I put my glasses on. Now Jägermeister is 35%, I think. This is called Riga Black Balsam, and that is 45%. But the lady, very nice lady behind the bar, she recommended this to me, I think. So this looks like this. Hang on a minute, let me just get my screen back up. It looks like this. I've got to say, it's pretty nice. It certainly warms you up a bit, that's for sure. Yeah, so it comes in a lovely glass. Bloody hell. and you know, it's a bit more exciting than your bog standard lager, isn't it? The total price is €7.50 for the two. Now that's not bad, I don't think. So yeah, maybe I might just have the one. See how we go into it. But I am hoping to get a decent night's sleep tonight, and the good old Riga Black Balsam is going to help me on my way. So yeah. So anyway, I'm just coming down here now. The sun is setting. Yeah, there's nothing else to do. Like I said earlier on, you got to make your own entertainment on this vessel, and that's what I'm going to do. I've downloaded some stuff on YouTube. I'm going to be watching some of my favourite YouTubers while drinking the Black Balsam, and yeah, a couple of pints of Latvian beer. Catch you in a bit. Yeah, I got some snacks to help numb the alcoholic shock, and yeah, spent a nice couple of hours there really, listening to some tunes and all that. And before I knew it, it was time to go to bed. One last stroll out on deck under the light of the moon, and I'll see you all in the morning. Morning guys, from the MS Stena Horizon, and I'm back in the bar with a coffee and the last croissant at 8:15. Yeah, predictably the cafe isn't open yet. There's a massive queue for the all-you-can-eat buffet breakfast thing, but I'm not a big eater at breakfast time, so I'm quite happy here with my coffee and croissant. Yeah, we've got about, well, if we're on time, we've got 3 3/4 hours to run, but I've no idea if we're on time or not. It looks a bit grey out there. We're passing quite a few ships, but I'll nip out and take some shots in a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna try and have a shower. This morning, clean my teeth, and there's like no cold water. It's just like piping hot, whichever way you turn the tap. Fortunately, I had some bottled water with me, so I didn't fancy contracting some kind of waterborne horrible disease. So I cleaned my teeth with bottled water. And a toothbrush, toothpaste obviously. But yeah, it's like nothing works on this ship. Like, they should be calling it the MS Stena Out of Order or something like that. But, anyway, yeah, we haven't got that long. I mean, these 3 or so hours are going to pass, hopefully really quickly, and we get into port at Travemunde and get on our way. But yeah, after I finish this, we'll head outside and have a look at the weather. See you in a bit. And a couple of other things to close off. Well, the staff, I would say, were generally okay. The guest services would be the area I would say needs improvement. The lady who seemed like she should be there, well, she was absolutely fine, but half the time it was manned by either the security guard or some other guy who looked like they were one of the deckhands. So I don't know, it just didn't look very professional to me. They just looked bored or going through the motions. The lady behind the bar, she was excellent though, really friendly and happy to chat. The restaurant staff were also good. And Wi-Fi, well, I used the free service. I could just about send and receive WhatsApp messages. Don't expect YouTube streaming or anything like that. And Stena do try to upsell their internet to premium Wi-Fi, which, to be fair, I didn't think was too bad at €4.90 per voucher, and I'm assuming that this is for the duration of the trip. Okay then guys, it is just gone 11:20 in the morning. We are off the north coast of Germany, just coming into Travemunde. You can see it there in front of me, and I think we're going to be pretty much on schedule, if not a little bit before. When we get there, I've got to make my way to the railway station because I have the small matter of a 4.5-hour train journey down to Duisburg and my hotel for this evening. So yeah, I'm going to get my thoughts together, and when I get to the hotel I'm going to summarise this journey, and yeah, I look forward to telling you guys all about it. I'll catch you in a bit. So yeah, some better views of Travemunde here as we approach port. Now, price I paid for this trip, adult foot passenger one way and including my outside cabin, was £163. I think that's poor value for money considering the ship and the facilities. But this trip, well, it had been on my bucket list for ages, and okay, it is probably the worst ferry I've been on for the size, facilities, journey time and cost, but I'm still glad I did it. And that's travel, isn't it? And it's all about the experience, the voyage, and not necessarily getting from A to B in the fastest possible time. and I'm keen to explore more slow travel options in the future, and there are many more ferry routes in this part of the world and beyond. I'm hopefully going to be trying a few of those out, but yeah, if you've got any recommendations, then please leave them in the comments below. We arrived into port pretty much on time, and it was another bus transfer to the ferry terminal. There were one or two more travel complications, shall we say, on the way to Duisburg, but after I finally got to my hotel, I just took a couple of minutes to summarise the journey. Right guys, have you ever had one of those days? I'm at my hotel room in Duisburg, and got the train down to Hamburg, and then the ice from Hamburg to Duisburg, and I was looking forward to some really nice food and maybe a coffee or something, or a beer, and nothing was working in the restaurant car, so they weren't able to serve any food or hot drinks, and then the card machine wasn't working, so it was just like. And then I got to the hotel through the rain, and I was like, well, I presume your restaurant's open tonight. And they're like, no, we've got staff issues. It's like, for God's sakes. So anyway, what did you think of the Stena Line MS Stena Horizon? Well, I mean, the route itself is on my bucket list, so I'm glad I did the route. But yeah, I mean, the ship, well, it's a freight vessel, isn't it? That is the bottom line. So you know, if you want to get from A to B and you're driving a lorry, then it's absolutely fine, I guess. And that is probably the standard that you will be wanting to expect. But having said that, even some of the facilities on board, I mean, things were out of order. God knows how long they've been out of order for. There's no cinema anymore. It's a silent room now, apparently. And opening times, it's like totally random. Don't believe anything that it says on the wall there against the the barista coffee house, or the shop, or the. I mean, the best bit, I think, was probably the bar, and quite a nice lady there working behind the bar, and that was absolutely fine. The food's average, I would say, and the price, it's not cheap. I paid £163. That was for an outside cabin, and the one-way fare from Latvia down to Germany here. So yeah, it's not cheap. It's tired, it's scruffy, it's rough around the edges. Yeah, have you ever tried it? Have you ever sailed this route? Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of the ship? It has been on the Roskilde-Cherbourg route, and before that, I think it was on the Holyhead-Dublin route. So yeah, it's kind of been around British waters quite a lot. But yeah, I hope I don't come across it again. But yeah, and the Stena Flavia, the other ship on this route, I don't think that's any better either, to be honest with you. But yeah, if you've tried it, I'd love to hear of your experiences, and if you are about to try it or thinking about trying it, I wish you the very best of luck. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it more than I did. But 22 hours, it wasn't that bad. You just need to know what to expect. Like I said, I wasn't expecting entertainment or anything like that. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'm sure I'll catch you on another adventure soon. And until the next time, guys, as always, cheers for now.